I made the decision to go on the Rhodes Scholar trip out to Indian Wells in March of 2011 by myself. I tried to get a couple of friends to go with me, and they were all busy. The timing was good, it was spring break, and I was relieved from my babysitting jobs, my nanny with the grandkids, so I decided to make the trip by myself. The next morning I was welcomed to the group, not only by the group leader, but by this group of 6 women from Redding, California, who were also tennis players like myself. And really they just sort of adopted me, took me under their wing, and I found out later that the trip leader had given them a heads up and said, Pat's coming and she's by herself. They reached out to me, and I stayed with them the whole week, and we did everything together. And of course we had tennis in common, so a sport is a great bond. But that's how we met on the Rhodes Scholar trip the first morning I was there.
Donna came over to us and said that there was a gal who was going to be traveling by herself and she'd be coming in the next morning, and her name was Pat. And so the next morning we're at breakfast, and this gal, who obviously kind of our age, walked in. so I said, we figured that must be her, so I went, "Pat, over here! Pat, come on over here! Pat!" And she stood there like, who are they and how do they know my name?
They're just fun to talk to, and we shared our stories too. Women do that when they get together. What was fun for me was to have this opportunity to write about them, because so often you don't let people know what they've meant to you. And so this contest gave me a chance to write about them and share it with them and let them know how much I remembered them and appreciated the way they adopted me. Each one of us had their own struggles going on in their lives, but you'd never know it from looking at our pictures, because they were together having fun and being joyful, but everybody had their own problems at home and kind of left them there. We went on that trip in March of 2011, and then the following year we did it again. We went back to Indian Wells with the Rhodes Scholar trip in 2012. And that year was particularly joyful for me because my son had a kidney transplant in the interim, and that was the big burden on my heart.
Yeah, it was a tough time for her. She had been a full-time nanny for 7 years with this burden on her back. But there's nobody in this group that doesn't have, I call them a backpack of bricks. And sometimes a brick comes out and 2 more go in, but you carry your backpack and you do the best you can. And she was carrying a pretty heavy one at that time. So I think 4 days or 5 days of laughing and giggling. And she said, yeah.
I think people who travel and want to see a new part of the world, I think they're open to new friendships as well. The older you get, I think you have fewer friends. You're not into that heavy social scene. I'd say you have fewer friends, but they become more important to you.